Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Adam.
Politics and video games are always kind of a combustible mix. While you get some developers who will really lean into it, a lot of developers tend to shy away from potentially controversial topics for fear they might, drive away a bunch of their potential customers.
Yeah, but can a game set in an alternate universe, Washington, D.C. that's been decimated by a terrorist attack possibly avoid politics? Seems impossible, right?
I mean, that does seem like you would expect some politics in there somewhere. When it comes to The Division 2, there's been a little bit of controversy over that topic, which is ironic because it seemed like Ubisoft was trying to avoid controversy when one of its developers said at E3 the game was not about politics, despite the fact that the game is about a terrorist attack set in DC with a secret military force fighting a corrupt government.
Yeah, you might remember a trailer for The Division 2 at E3, which showed Washington, D.C. decimated after a viral outbreak that led to riots and mass death.
Then, 6 months after the outbreak, according to the trailer, a remnant of a corrupt state lurks in the shadows, ready to engage in a new civil war. Agents of the Division are the only ones standing against it. I feel like you've got the trailer voice. You want to give that one a go?
Agents of the Division are the only ones standing against it.
Yeah!
And then the trailer really ends on a really bleak note saying, but how do you save a nation when its enemies come from within?
Alright, so that's the backstory. Obviously, given the setting of the game, combined with a terrorist attack and pending civil war, these are very heavy topics that have echoes in a lot of real-world news stories in this sort of post-9/11 era.
But is it political?
Sounds political.
Well, back during E3, one of the heads of the game, Terry Spire, said, nope, it's not political.
In an interview at E3, Spire, who's creative director for Red Storm Entertainment, said, "It's not a political statement. No, we are absolutely here to explore a new city. A city that's been decimated and also was the capital of the country."
The reason they chose DC, he said, was that it was because it was an iconic city, not because it's ground zero for federal politics here in the US.
Well, he added, "It's the iconic seat of power. You heard our team say that. Everybody knows what DC is. Everyone's seen the monuments, the Lincoln Memorial, the Capitol building, all that stuff. So that was the driving choice behind why we picked DC."
So those comments started a bit of a controversy, and it's now the head of Ubisoft is weighing in with his thoughts.
In an interview with the UK's Guardian newspaper, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot said that he considers Ubisoft's games to be thought experiments rather than statements. So it's not a political statement, it's a political thought experiment.
He said, our goal in all the games we create is to make people think. We want to put them in front of questions that they don't always ask themselves automatically. We want players to listen to different opinions and to have their own opinions. Our goal is to give all the tools to the player in order for them to think about the subjects, to be able to see things from far enough away.
Guillemot then agreed with the interviewer who asked if Ubisoft made games with political themes, but were ultimately politically impartial.
He added, yes, because the player is the actor. The player is the person who is going to take decisions within the game, and our job is to make sure you feel free to go one way or the other to make the actions and to experience the consequences. Our job is to make systems available and to make sure those systems work well. For sure, those systems have to be built in a certain way. Those are limits. If you're not punished when you kill people, for example.
Well, then he said they don't want to tell players what to think, adding, "We can't enable everything. We do not want to tell players what to think. We want to put you in situations that will make you decide and understand and try things."
Of course, on one hand, you could see this as a dodge, that Ubisoft is trying to have it both ways by making games with heavy political and current event undertones, but without trying to offend any of its player base. Because gamers are like the rest of society. They span the full range politically.
Well, and Ubisoft has teased politics before in its games. I mean, just this year, Far Cry 5 looked like it was going to deal with a lot of political topics from rural America to religious cults. That was the huge focus of the trailers and the gameplay and everything they showed leading up to it, but ultimately a lot of critics said it backed away from making a strong statement about anything. It was like approaching and trying to use like this really controversial thing as a setting without actually getting involved with it in any way. Like, it was non-committal,
Yeah, but Ubisoft is hardly the only developer to delve into political themes in their games and then play innocent. David Cage has said that Detroit Become Human is mostly about androids, despite the fact that it deals pretty explicitly with themes like racism.
Well, also, Square Enix marketed its 2016 game, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. Remember, they used the phrase mechanical apartheid to describe the game's world where society was divided by governmental rules.
That drew some complaints from people, considering that apartheid is the word used to describe the political system of segregation for decades in South Africa. But Square Enix denied the game was based on any real events.
Oh, yeah, real world events, sure, but still, it's a thought experiment. As for Ubisoft, Guillemot said their games are ultimately like a simulation where players make choices as opposed to something like a movie where you're watching the choices that others make.
He said the long-term goal is, why not simulate other ways to live and to work and behave together in video games so that people can experiment with them to see if it works or not. It's the same with technology. The goal is to test new things because as tech is changing, video games can have a chance to experiment with what will happen in the future. You'll be able to see it in a video game, so you're aware of what may happen.
Alright, so there you go. Ultimately, according to Ubisoft, it's up to the gamer to decide the politics of a game. It is not them being political or just choosing to have destroyed DC specifically.
Of course, it's worth wondering that in today's hyper-charged political climate, can anything avoid politics?
Well, here's the thing where it feels a little bit cagey. So I'll go off for
David
just
Cagey.
a second. Oh yeah, David Cagey. It's that, first of all, video games typically are sort of political thing at heart because they're telling stories, they're exploring themes, whether it's what is it to be human, or can I kill absolutely everybody, or I'm running around in a world that's been destroyed. They take settings, and they're fictional settings. They're not real world based on anything, and I'm sure this isn't political in the way that it's like making a statement for or against current administrations or anything like that. But if you have something to say, which is the whole point, it's kind of inherently political in some way.
All right.
That's me. What do you guys think of Ubisoft's claims that the Division 2 doesn't have any politics in it, or that it does but that it doesn't? What do you think politics in a game consists of? Am I in the wrong? I don't know. Let me know in the comments.
For all your gaming news, be sure to like this video. And if you're new around here, subscribe to The Note to talk about politics.
We're a politics channel now.
Yeah, but a game set in an alternate universe, Washington, D.C. that's been decimated by a terrorist attack, possibly... Nope, I missed the whole part of that sentence. Yeah, but can a game set in an alternate with them to see if it works or not? It's the same with technology. The goal is to test new things because tech is changing.